Let's get some more reaction, this time from the government. The Work and Pensions Secretary, Damian, who was at this morning's Cabinet meeting, joins me now from Lancaster House. Welcome to the Daily Politics. You were, of course, a Remainer before the referendum, now a member of the government. The Prime Minister said we're not going to be half in, half out. So can you clarify for us, is the UK going to leave fully the customs union?
Well, as she said, we're going to leave the single market. The customs union is more complex. We're going to leave the parts of it that stop us signing trade deals with other countries in the world. We've seen a lot of interest in free trade deals with Britain, and there are certain parts of the customs union that do that, but the Prime Minister made clear there are other parts of the customs union that we will be negotiating about, that we may wish to stay in. She's not got any preconceived notions of how best we do that, but certainly there are parts of the customs union that we won't want to stay in because we want to sign these free trade deals with other big economies around the world.
And because that's also an admission that otherwise key industries like aerospace and car manufacturing could be harmed in Britain if we came out totally of the customs union.
Well, she made the point that what we want to achieve is as near frictionless borders as we can. Clearly, there are, as you say, many big important industries, both in this country and in other countries around Europe, that depend on supply chains in different European countries. And obviously, we want as few customs barriers as we can in practical terms for those. And so that'll be obviously an important part of the negotiation, which illustrates actually that the best kind of deal is not just good for Britain, it's good for other European countries as well, because clearly that frictionless trade provides prosperity and jobs in all countries.
Now, and can you be clear in terms of contributions, financial contributions, that could continue to be made to the EU? It is clear from what she said that she's not ruling out altogether some financial contributions being made in order for us to have preferential access to the single market. Is that right?
It wasn't quite that. No, she said that we wouldn't make contributions in the traditional sense,
no,
but that there may well be individual projects that we'd want to get involved in, and that obviously, you know, we would look. Well, I mean, let's see what's on offer. I don't want to pick individual sectors or individual projects now, but in no circumstances it may be to Britain's advantage to make a financial contribution to specific projects.
Right. Although that was a red line for certainly some of the Brexiteers before and after, in fact, the referendum. So on that basis, there could be some special contributions that are made in order to have some sort of advantages for certain sectors or industries. And she said that we might also want to remain part of some EU programmes. That's right too, is it?
Well, that's specifically what she was talking about when she said, she wasn't talking about sectors, she said that there may be specific programmes that it would be to Britain's advantage to be part of, and that's where it may be to our advantage to make contributions.
So in a way, we're not
programs.
Right, so we are still a bit in the EU in that case. If we're still making the odd contribution here or there, we're still part of perhaps some of the EU programmes, some of which could still be under the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice. We're half in, half out. We're not actually having this clean Brexit or hard Brexit that's been talked about.
No, I don't think that's true at all. I think the phrase she used a lot was that we will be in a strategic partnership with the EU, that Britain will be out of the EU, but we will obviously be friendly, we're neighbours, fellow democracies, so we want a strategic partnership. Now as strategic partners, we may say, you know, here's a project, here's a programme that members of the EU and a non-member of the EU, like Britain, might want to join in. The EU does sign deals with countries that are not in the EU, so it's not unknown for that to happen. Britain will be outside the EU, but will be a friendly strategic partner of the EU and its member states.
Right. Damian, thank you very much for joining us there outside of Lancaster House. Just briefly, Theresa Villiers, when we look at the hard border, or the common, I should say, travel area between Ireland and Northern Ireland, she said that there wouldn't be a hard border. How can she guarantee that if we're coming out of the single market and almost all of the customs union?
We've had a common travel area for nearly 100 years, so yes, it predated EU membership. There's no reason why we can't continue it. Yes, there's a degree of risk of illegal migration by having an open and free-flowing border, but it's perfectly possible to manage that risk without border checkpoints. The reality is the key thing is how you cooperate with the immigration authorities on both sides of the border. For around 100 years, those immigration authorities have worked together to try and secure the external borders of the common travel area. That will continue. That's how we need to operate.
Let's leave that there.